Hey, what's going on, guys? Alex here with TFL, and that right there behind me is the new 2024 Audi Q8 e-tron. And in this video, we're gonna walk all around it, tell you everything there is to know about this new model here. And yeah, there's a ton of specs to go through. We'll give you all the details. This one happens to be the Sportback model. There's also an SUV model available, and coming soon to alltfl.com. I'm gonna have a drive review of both of these next week. So stay tuned for that, because there's plenty more to talk about, but a lot to go through in this video here. There's a ton of specs to work through on this car. So, couple things that you need to know about the new Q8 e-tron. Really three main things. First off is the name. Second of all is the powertrain, the battery and charging and all that stuff. And third is the design. So let's start with the name, because that's simple and makes the most sense. This is the Q8 e-tron, and it replaces the Audi e-tron. So there wasn't a Q or a number in the first version of it. Now that Audi is starting to electrify a lot more models and bring a lot of EVs out to the market, they need to differentiate them. So they added the Q to the name. So now Q8 Sportback e-tron. And Audi's going to be doing this on all their future models, where they're going to laser etch the name into the B-pillar. So you can see it right there. And that's pretty much all you need to know about the name, is they added the Q8. So now there's, you know, the Q4 e-tron, the Q8 e-tron. It just makes sense and fits into the rest of Audi's naming structure. The second thing, let's talk about the design before we get on to all the specs and the powertrain and everything. Very similar look to the outgoing model, but definitely a little new and definitely improved. One of the things Audi really wanted to do with this was make it look sportier, make it look wider. So they brought over the grille from the gas Q8, which is kind of this mass grille that goes under the headlights and all around here in this black accent. And it just helps, I think, give the car a wider stance, a wider look, and yeah, just makes it look a little sportier. This one's got the black optic package, so a lot of the other trim is done in gloss black, but if it didn't have that package, this center portion here would be body colored. Then the design's a little bit different on these rings here. So this is Audi's kind of new branding, where they have this two-dimensional ring logo instead of the old 3D style. And I think that looks pretty cool. And yeah, overall, I think it's just a really sharp looking car. They also reworked some of these inlets in the front here to, you know, maximize how the air is channeled around the tires. So obviously that's going to be better for drag and better for efficiency. You can also see these little spoilers in front of the tires here. Same thing. Those just help improve the aerodynamics of this car. And Audi says that this new Q8 e-tron, compared to the outgoing one, there's been a 6% increase in drag coefficiencies. So moves through the air better, and that leads to better range. So that's all good stuff. Work our way around to the back here. First, we'll stop at the wheels. A lot of cool wheel designs across all the different trim levels of this vehicle. But as you can see, we've got our sloping roof in the back. This is the Sportback model. So you lose a little bit of cargo space, you lose a little bit of headroom for the rear seat passengers, although I still think it's pretty acceptable. I'll sit in here real quick, give you an idea of what that looks like. Definitely a little cut down on headroom, but I think it's a really sharp looking car. They're also going to do a launch edition, which will give you some more black accents and some special bits if you're one of the first people to buy this car. So yeah, there's the design. Let me know what you think down in the comments below. A couple things I forgot to mention too. This has the digital matrix LED headlights, which can do all sorts of fancy things and project images onto the ground at night, things like that. And then you've also got your charge port here. You just press this little button and the door pops open like that. Press it again and it will close. So there's the design. Now let's move on to the powertrain, which is really what I think most of you are here for. So let's talk about all the details on this new powertrain. So They're all all-wheel drive, every trim, and both the SUV and the Sportback version, they're all going to be all-wheel drive. It's a rear bias dual motor setup, but the big news is the battery. So this now has a 114 kilowatt hour battery pack, which is a good bit bigger than the outgoing model, which had a 95 kilowatt hour battery pack. So you get a bigger battery, and actually the footprint of the battery is exactly the same as the outgoing model. The pack dimensions are exactly the same. Audi just changed how they're stacking the cells inside of that pack, so they're able to fit more of them in there, and we get more usable battery capacity, which is great. They also improved the charging rate on this car. So previously, the e-tron was capable of 150 kilowatt charging. It now is capable of 170 kilowatt charging, DC charging. So even though you have a bigger battery, because of the faster charging rate, the charging times stayed exactly the same. 10 to 80% is about 31 minutes under ideal conditions, according to Audi, which I think is pretty good. There's also some charge at home options. So you have a 9.6 kilowatt onboard charger that comes standard with the car. That'll charge you up at home in about 13 hours. Or you can get an optional 19.2 kilowatt onboard charger. That drastically cuts the charging times down from 13 hours to 6.5 hours. So if you're charging at home a lot, that's probably a good option to have. But really good charging options with the new e-tron. And one of the cool things is, if you buy one of these from Audi, you're gonna get 2 years of unlimited charging on Electrify America. And that's actually unlimited. They don't put a time limit on it. They don't put, any kind of restrictions. So if you buy one of these, 2 years of free charging at Electrify America, which is really nice to see. Now, range. Let's talk about range. That's the big one. Americans want to see 300 miles of range in our EVs, and it's really hard to, convince people otherwise or shop for a car that's got less than that. That seems to be the number that most Americans are targeting. So the e-tron, Q8 e-tron SUV, does 285 miles of range, which is getting close to that 300 mile number. A lot better than the old one. This is the Sportback, like I said a bunch of times. So this one will do 296 miles on a single charge, according to the EPA. So you get an 11-mile increase in range by ditching the SUV back and going to the Sportback look. You can get a 300-mile range in this car, and it's a little bit of a weird way to get there, but if you get the Sportback with the Ultra package, which gives you these wheel covers that are, kind of questionable looking. These aren't the wheel covers, these are the regular good looking wheels. But if you get the Ultra package, you'll get some wheel covers that I don't think look too great, and I don't think Audi thinks they look too great either, because none of the cars we're driving here today are equipped with the Ultra package. But if you get that, you get the wheel covers, you get low rolling resistance tires, and then some special badging around the charge port. That gives you an extra 4 miles and brings the total range of this car up to 300 miles. So 285 for the SUV, 296 for the Sportback, 300 for the Sportback with the Ultra package. So there's kind of an idea of, the distances you can go. I'll jump in the interior in one sec. I already showed you the back seat, but I figured I'd pop the rear hatch here and just show you what you get in the back. On the Sportback, we've got this little trunk lid, keep your cargo protected, and I like how high this comes up actually. It's really easy if you need to load groceries or put your stuff back here. It's not, you're not bending over a ton to get to everything. So that's all good. And then lastly, we'll just check out the interior here. Very nice seats. I've been driving this thing all day, a mix of this one and the SUV, and it's just really, really comfortable. Let me turn the music down here, and let's get the climate turned down a little. We'll just turn it off for now so that doesn't make a ton of noise. I'll turn the ventilated seat off too. There we go, it's a little quieter in here. But you've got a full digital cluster as you would come to expect, so all our info is right there, and you can scroll through and set it up however you want. There's a ton to do there. Dual screen setup as you would come to expect from Audi as well, and I didn't love this system when I first started using it, not in this vehicle, but some other Audis I've driven, and it's growing on me for sure. It's I don't know, it's pretty easy to use, everything's easy to see. I like the satellite function on the maps here, and I really like the haptic function. So if you push one of these, there's like a little hammer behind the screen that gives you some feedback on the screen, which I think is a really nice touch. You've also got some different settings up here, or buttons to bring up different menus, like your parking cameras. You also have Park Assist Plus right here. The vehicle's not on, so it won't let me enter that. And then you've got your driver assistance features, and you can customize these different profiles and turn things on or off. And then lastly, down here, we've got our drive select as well, where you can go through your different drive modes and then set your individual drive mode as well, really make it custom. Adjust your air suspension, and then you also have this range mode option, which right now it's saying 0 miles because I don't have anything turned on, but for example, if I get the climate going, now it'll kind of give me a readout that says if I turn the air conditioning off and the seat ventilation off, I'll get an extra 7 miles of range out of it. So pretty cool. A lot to go through there. You have paddles here for your regen braking. What else? Drive selector right here. So you've got this little kind of toggle switch to use. Park button on the side. Cup holders here. Cup holders aren't massive, actually. That was one of my things I noticed right away, is that my Yeti water bottle won't fit in there. And this is not the biggest water bottle in the world, and I rarely have issues fitting this in cup holders. So a little interesting there. You've got a 12 volt and then some storage and a couple USB-C ports down here, and then also rear climate and rear USB-C as well down in the back. So that's pretty much everything you need to know about this new Q8 e-tron, the SUV and the Sportback. And like I said, you're gonna have to stay tuned to alltfl.com, because very soon next week we're gonna have a full drive review where I get this out on the road, tell you really everything you need to know about it. This was more of a spec rundown, but let me know what you think of this car down in the comments below. It will be available this summer 2023, and it starts at $74,400. The Sportback, a little more expensive, starts at $77,800. There's a couple different trim levels available, and this one is the Prestige, so pretty close to the top of the line without the launch edition. Price is tested $92,390. There you can see the spec sheet for it. So there you go. More coming soon on this car. Thanks for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.